Hi, I'm Travis. Nice to meet you. Thanks for sending this video. I've got quite a bit of notes because you did a lot of reps. And I'm just going to kind of go through it real quick. Your start here, when you jumped up, is kind of like hanging this swing around and then you kick your legs out. It doesn't look like you really have a plan on when that's going to happen. I have a movement that I call a cast swing. And the whole idea is that when your legs go up and out that way, that you're actually trying to, let me get this up here, trying to shoot your feet out that direction. And so the first time your body straightens, the rings will be from there, just on the front side of the rig here. So if this is vertical like this is on the front side, and then your body would be out here. This is really gonna help you if you can do this with your first rep. So that's your head. Oh, you don't have a ponytail, do you? But anyway, so your backswing goes back this way. And ideally, we'd want your backswing being kind of with the ring right here still, and your body way back like this. So, and then your hips traveling backward. When you do a muscle up, you're gonna want your hips moving from, sorry, this is kind of a mess, isn't it? You're gonna kind of want your hips moving from back here up and forward. And you don't really do this, but what you're doing creates a lot of consistency. Your hips are gonna go from here up on most of these. So let me just go ahead and show you through there. But yeah, so this cast swing, I can send you, let me write this down. I'm gonna send you the cast video, and that should kind of show you what I'm talking about. Take it or leave it, it's not necessary. You actually have really nice muscle ups, and the biggest inconsistencies are going to be, I'll point them out later. So here we go, and oops, backswing, good. Now you do bend your knees a little bit, but that's totally okay. Your hands are fine, everything's in good position. Now one thing you're gonna notice, and I mentioned this in text, is that look at your hip height right now. Do you see, if we zoom in, do you see how you can see the bottom of this window right here? So I'm using that as kind of like a guide to show me as you go through these reps, if you're getting the same amount of height on the last reps as you did on the first one. So, and first ones. So anyway, when we get into this swing and then backswing come up, your feet are kind of low here, and that's all right. Your knees are a little bent. That could be a problem. See, when you have bent knees, what happens, as you may know, is they kick right there. And one of your reps, I think it's the third or fourth. Sorry, I've kind of got some crazy notes going here. But your feet get quite high. If that ever is an issue, I recommend you just have your legs straight the entire time. That includes the backswing here, right here. I would keep the legs straight. It's not that big of a deal on short straps, but on long straps it can be. And then you're bending your knees here, and because they bend, they're gonna have to kick out. And if you watch your hips go up, and then they have to go backward. And so by the hips going backward, it kind of takes a little extra time. So once you're coming up here, if you don't get a lot of height, that transition time when the hips move backward, that can cause your body to have enough time to start dropping. Gravity wins eventually, right? Okay, so we got the first one, and then let's see. Swing fine, short straps, we concentrate on snap pull. Okay, so snap pull, this movement that I like people to learn is you're basically, when you go to do the, I'm gonna switch out here. When you go into this part right here with the hip extension, so you see your hips have the most bend here, which we'll talk about. I don't think it's quite enough. And then you go hip extension. Right there, do you see what the rings are doing? If you look, sorry, every time I take my thumb off, it moves. Let me move over here. You see that little backward shake right there, right there. So the ring is going from here and it's going backward. Just a really quick moment. I call that the snap pull. And that thing on short straps can launch your shoulders up and over the rings. It makes a huge difference. So I'll send you a cast and snap pull video. And that should help kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But it basically, with short straps, when you pull backward on the strap doesn't just go backward, but it also goes upward. And when the strap goes upward, because you're pulling back, you are attached to the strap, so you go upward even higher. it throws your shoulders over and makes for a higher catch position, which ultimately I would say you need. So here we go, all the way up. And then again, we got the bend. That's way more bend in the knees this time. And then a kick. And that transition time takes a bit. Now look, every time you drop here, you're pushing your hips backward. So you're going from hips, oh shoot. Of course I did that. Never mind. Okay, so once you're going from here, when you drop, you're kind of pushing your butt backward. I don't recommend that you push your butt backward. In fact, I recommend that you try to get your hips to move forward and downward as you drop. So instead of dropping to the point where you are right here, see where your hips are? They're kind of like back behind the rig, and then they move forward into the muscle up. This is kind of the opposite of what effect we're looking for. I would actually rather have your hips drop down. Let's go here. Let's have your hips drop down this way. Oops, sorry, they were here. And hips drop down into the front, and then when you go into the muscle up, we want them coming up from the backside. Now, bent knees in the back. Again, not a problem because there's short straps on long straps. It can make a difference. Bent knees. Now let's look at the hip height. You remember that little corner of the window? You can still see it, right? But let's fast forward a couple of reps here. And this one here. Now your bum is covering that window. So you are losing height as you go up and over the top, and that's not the one that you had trouble with the grip on. So this is the last one here. You had trouble with the grip. Look at the height, the ultimate height of your hips. This distance between here and there, between the rings in your hips, that's the highest it's going to be until you unless you start like pulling like strict. This makes it hard to transition the hand. I would say that's the reason why your hand is having that issue, is that you are not just high enough. What we can do in order to get the hips higher is increase the speed of your swing just a little bit. By having straight legs, it's helpful, okay? So do try to have straight legs. Now, going back to this position, right, let's go, just picking a middle one here. Look how much you bent your knees on this one, okay? So that's not gonna help. Right here. So you start extending your legs or your hips just before that point, right here. What I would try to do is right before, like in this position, your upper leg is actually not in a bad position, but because your knee is bent, your lower leg is. So I'm kind of more looking for a body position that looks like this. Here, here, and here. So your legs are actually all traveling upward, both parts of your leg. It's nice that your lower leg is going up with your body, but it's attached to the knee, at the knee. And so your hips are actually dragging the weight of your lower leg up. Having the leg straight, if you are familiar with the way things move, this part of my little pen here is not traveling as fast when I move it as the tip. And with speed and weight comes momentum. So when you bend your knee here, you're slowing the momentum of your lower leg. This has less speed. It was traveling fast, but then it got left behind while the knee kept going. And so your body is going up, yes, but you're not transferring as much power from your feet into your shoulders. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is we use kipping movements, not just to lighten the load of our lower body so our upper body can do something easier, but actually using the momentum of your lower body to be providing support for your upper body. So you use lower body momentum to push it into the upper body. In order to do that, I would try to get the feet higher. I would say try to get your legs horizontal. So it's about a 45-degree angle between your torso and your legs. If you do it in a hanging position, say you're just hanging from the rings, right? Here's your head and you're smiling. Hanging from here means that your legs would be in this position. But because you are swinging and your upper body is going to continue to rotate, this, we'll say, is 45 degrees. This is also 45 degrees, even though you're leaning back. and then your arms will be here attached to the rings. And then right when you go extending the hips upward, you pull backward on the rings. So that is the snap pull, and that is the hip extension. And this is really what you need to fix right here. Okay, so I hope that's helpful for now, and that's a 10-minute video, so I'm gonna have to send this to you in I think a couple videos. I'm gonna ask if you have WhatsApp. Have a good day, and let me know if you need any more assistance. I'd be happy to help.